Hey yo, what's good? My name is Mad Keys, and I'm a producer, artist, and instrumentalist from St. Louis. And today, I'm with Splice. We're at the Sound Factory in Los Angeles, California, and I'm gonna walk y'all through some of my favorite tips on producing with Arturia's effects collection. So before I started using Arturia effects collection, I hit beat block quite a bit. I would hit these moments where the song was just really flat and I was just uninspired, and I didn't really know where to take it. But when I started using the effects collection, I started coming across these new ideas that were unlike anything that I've ever made before. I'm gonna walk you all through this beat that I've been working on that has a little bit of jazz and R&B and soul influences. And we're gonna flesh that out using Arturia's effects collection with Splice harmoniously. So let's get into it. Tip number one is all about sound layering. So let's dive into this track. So that sounds fire where we at right now, but we can definitely build this out and make it sound even more lively. So I have this track right here, and I originally processed it with Fragments, and let's experiment to see what this code file will sound like with this. Okay, this is crazy. I'm gonna solo this so we can hear what's going on. Oh, this is dope. It's cycling through both dual engines that's processing the distortion. That's really dope. Ooh. Whew, that's fire. I'm gonna mess with this drive over here and pre-filter A on the wave folder. Turn that dry wet knob down a little bit. Let's mute this and see what happens. So we're getting rid of some of that squishy noise that's happening, which is really cool. Ooh. Okay, so let's see what that sounds like in the song. Okay, so this is sounding kind of dope. So let me tell you a little bit about what's happening here and what this plugin is doing. So this code file is a dual engine distortion effect. So you see how we have we have pre-filter A and pre-filter B. So essentially we're cycling between both effects, and you see how I was messing with the drive knob over here along with the bit depth knob over here, and as I was cycling through different presets, they were also changing as well. So you can hear as I was cycling through the different presets, some may have been a little bit more subtle while others may have been heavier. And while I love that color that it adds, I want to experiment with filter MS20 to see what else we can do. All right, so we just added filter MS20, so let's see what we get. So what I'm hearing is this filter cutoff drop, and then it comes, and then the filter brings the sound back in. Let's listen. Yeah, it's kind of what we want. I'll bring it up just a little bit more. I'm gonna bring this point down because this is gonna be where the filter cuts off. This is gonna be where the sound completely dips out. Yeah, that's fire. Let's come out a little bit. Let's listen to everything a few bars ahead. Make sure we didn't mess anything up. All right, so we're at a good place to start layering some instruments. So I'm gonna go in and use that Arturia Juke 8 plugin, as well as their Juno synthesizer, and we're just gonna go crazy a little bit. Fire. That's fire. I love that. I'm really happy where this song is at, and we've added some sounds that complement each other. So now let's get into using fragments. Tip number 2 is all about creating samples using Arturia's fragments. So I have this Rose loop that I've been working on, and while I love it, I wanted it to sound a little bit more unique. So let's grab Fragments and see how far we can take this. All right, so here's the loop without Fragments. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna unmute it, and then we're gonna cycle through some presets and see what we can do. Whee, that sounds crazy. That already sounds otherworldly. Yo, what? And what's really dope about this plugin, you can A/B test your effects. So I have this effect right now, this ocean sweep. I'm gonna go to B, and now I can process a completely new sound. And now we can switch back and forth to see which one we like the most. That's crazy. Ooh, that's fire. So you can adjust your layers here, so we can hear how many times the sample is getting played and the number of grain layers that are getting played. Anytime that grain begins to get too much, we can adjust that grain value knob. All right, so y'all can kind of see how you can just get lost in manipulating this plugin and creating so many new sounds. However, I actually already processed something through this, and I actually built this song around this one loop. So I'm gonna play that for you. So yeah, that's just a little bit of what you can do with the effects fragments. So now that we have the sample, let's listen to the song that we built around it. So with this plugin, you can create ambient textures, huge sounds, stutters, and so much more. It already took this Rose loop and turned it into something that sounds truly amazing. So let's continue experimenting and see how far we can take it. Tip number 3 is all about creating space and width using Rev LX24. So in the song we've been working on, I have this nice Juno synthesizer from Arturia that I've been using. And while it hits the right notes, I want to give it a little bit more reverb and depth using that plugin. So let's test it out. All right, so let's go ahead and add Rev LX24 to our track. Boom. So I'm gonna solo it so we can see what it sounds like without reverb. Very dope. So let's add the reverb. Large Hall B sounding good. I really want a nice strong reverb here, but I don't want it to be too strong that we drown out the instrument, but I want it to be strong enough that it creates that space that we're looking for. Roll some of that high end off just a little bit. I love that. I think we got a really good reverb here. So let me unsolo this and see what it sounds like in the mix. Yeah. I think what'll make it even more beautiful, let's add this to a synth channel, and instead of having it directly on the plugin, let's send some of the dry signal to that synth channel. And I'm also going to turn that dry wet all the way up on the synth channel just so we get the best reverb. Turn some pre-delay up a little bit. Woo! I love that. This way, we still got some of that dry signal, so it's not all the way drowned out. And also, we can add a few other instruments to that synth channel. So let's say for this track, I want to send reverb to that synth channel as well. I love that. So you can see just how powerful Rev LX24 is. It created so much more width in our mix, and I'm really happy with this. All right, tip number 4 is all about adding textures to lead synthesizers using Rotary CLS 222. So we just got into a new project file, and while I love what I have, I want just a little bit more motion to this. So let's give it a play and see what we have so far. I'm gonna solo it, and let's give it a listen. So it has some really cool dynamics and some really cool characteristics. So let's take it a step further. So I definitely recommend putting headphones during this time so you can really get a feel for what's happening in the plugin. So I'm gonna add CLS 222. Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna mess with that drive a little bit. I don't want too much. Bring it back just a little bit. Whoops. All right, so I'm gonna A/B test it with a different effect. Ooh, that's kind of crunchy. Oh, I like that too. Oh, that's a little nasty too. That's okay, we'll keep going. That's a little dirty. So I'm gonna listen to the A version that we did. Whoops, had it off. I'm gonna listen to B. While I like both, and they're both pretty similar, A is standing out to me. So let's listen to this in the full mix. I want to unsolo this, and let's see what we have. Woo! Now, if you're looking to have some of that rotary stereo motion in some of your mixes, I definitely recommend this plugin. So the sounds that you're hearing are all sounds that are available on my Splice pack called Mad Keys Essential. I'm gonna check out Splice, and I'm going to find a nice little percussion loop, and we're gonna flesh this song out. I like this. That drum fill right there is crazy. I'm hearing that in that little break that we have in the beat. let's try that. All right, let's jump back over to Ableton. All right, so we just imported our sound. Let's see what we got. I want it right there. So yeah, that's already sounding fire. Let's chop that up a little bit. You know what? I actually really like the snare. So let's try this. I want to take that snare, I'm gonna crop it. I'm gonna open up my drum rack. And I'm gonna replace my snare with that snare because I think that's gonna sound a whole lot fuller. Alright, so that's how you use rotary CLS 222 to add that motion to your tracks and using Splice to really flesh out your music. Alright, so the last tip is adding that nice buttery sound with tape Lo-Fi on your keys. So I got this track right here. I want to add this piano line and I'm just going to show you just the magic of tape Lo-Fi. So let's get into it. I'm going to play it without the piano. All right, so let's add some keys to this. All right, so now here's where the magic happens. Let's go ahead and add tape Lo-Fi to our keys. And let's hear what we got now. I'm gonna cycle through some of the presets. I'm gonna solo it out and let's listen to what we get. That's beautiful. We get that nice tape sound. We have this flutter effect that's really giving us some nice pitch variation. And we also have this wow signal. It's gonna really accentuate the effect. So you can hear how crazy it's getting. I wanna turn that noise down just a little bit. I'm gonna also turn those mechanics down because I don't wanna hear too much of that. It sounds cool, but for this track, I want it to have a nice, clean, buttery sound. Beautiful. Now, let's hear it all together. And last but not least, we can add a little bit more reverb to that. I want that to have a little bit more space. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna add the Rev LX24 back onto the track. Boom. I still want some of that dry signal to come through. All right, y'all, so those are my tips on creating with Arturia's effects collection. I hope y'all learned something new. And one thing that I always like to remind myself is that music is all about experimentation. We always should approach it with a childlike mentality and just really have fun with it. So make sure y'all check out my sample kit on Splice, Mad Keys Essentials, and I'm gonna catch y'all next time. Peace.